What's up, everybody? Spectre from Operational Risk Management, and in this video we're going to be talking about the WiMiUs WiMiUs Dash Cam. However you wish to pronounce it, I have no clue, but it is what it is. So basically, long story short, I've had several dash cams in the past, and I stumbled across this one, and I decided to give it a shot. Basically, I wasn't a big fan of the dash cams I had in the past, so I wanted something a little bit different, if you will. And actually, after listening to the playback of that first little part, I will apologize for a couple things here. One, I apologize if you hear a cat, crying or meowing or whatever in the background. And two, if you hear a particular movie playing in the background in the other room, I apologize for that as well. Not exactly very professional of me. But anyhow, enough with that. Let's get into this camera. So essentially, I wanted a camera that basically had two cameras for the price of one. As you can see here, it's not a bad price. I mean, it was only $44. I have Prime, so it wasn't a big deal for me. I mean, if it sucked, it wasn't a huge amount of money to throw away. But it is still almost 45 bucks. So I was kind of hoping that it wasn't garbage like the other ones. And allegedly, the quote-unquote back camera or the rear camera, inside camera, whatever you wish to call it, is 720p, and the dash cam itself is 1080p. So let's give that a roll and go from there. Now, as you can see here on the Amazon listing for this particular camera, it's got 4 stars out of 41 reviews. However, the one thing that I've noticed, I could not find a single video clip of it actually recording. Nobody, drove around town and put that video out there on the market. It wasn't on YouTube. I didn't find it in the Amazon reviews or anything like that. So what did I decide to do? That's right. I'm actually putting it up here while I'm talking about it. So first things first with this, I do want to say the audio is on its own, or it's recording. I set both the audio levels to -16 dB in Premiere to try and be able to explain what's going on without, the radio hindering me and basically drowning me out. So as you can see here, just basic driving around. Front camera, and that's how I'm going to basically look at it, or I am going to divide it as front and rear camera. Might be the easiest way to convey things. So the front camera is looking out of the front window. The rear camera, or the back camera, is actually looking inside the cabin. I just have it mounted to the underside of my gun rack. Not a big deal. You do not see both videos whenever you pull footage off of the camera. Okay, this picture-in-picture thing is kind of what you would see on the back of the display, but it doesn't record it like that. It actually records it to 2 separate video streams. So just so you understand what I'm talking about here, I can turn this video display off, and it will look exactly the way it will if you pull the video off of the camera. Or if you pull the SD card out of the camera, hook it up to your computer, and run with it. For the sake of everything, though, I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on, and everything is back to the way I had it. So there are a couple things here that I like about the camera, and there's a couple things that I don't like. First and foremost, I do not like the sheer fact that it kind of has a little bit of a sphere to it. As far as the forward camera video footage is concerned, it is 170 degrees. It's not a big deal. It's something that I can easily rectify in post. So, it is what it is. The second thing that I do not like about it is the quote-unquote rear camera has standard white LEDs on it. It also has a little red wire that comes out that is supposed to be hooked up to a power source. That little red wire, which is not called out anywhere in the user's manual, and it wasn't covered in any of the questions until I asked it, was that red wire goes to power. It's supposed to be going to like your backup lights or what have you. So whenever you put the car in reverse, it turns those lights on. My hope was going to be that they were maybe IR LEDs or something like that, so I didn't really have to worry about blinding people. But unfortunately, that's not how it played out. They are white LEDs, and I'm stuck with it like that. So The LEDs aren't even plugged in right now. Another chief complaint that I have is it actually lists the WiMiUs, or however the hell you pronounce this thing, the D20 Dual Dash Cam as infrared night vision. As I said, it's not infrared light, or the LEDs on the rear camera are not infrared, they're standard. And to be quite honest with you, if you're out in the middle of the boondocks and you have all your lights off, including headlights, you technically can see enough to be able to make a positive identification of a person at maybe 3 to 4 feet in front of the nose of the hood. However, it is extremely
Alright, we're all clear from that stop.
The easiest way to put it is it looks like bad surveillance video from, the late 90s, early 2000s. And by that I mean that it's really glitchy. It looks more like stop frame animation. The way it looks like to me, instead of recording video after it gets to a low light, a certain low light threshold, it starts basically taking an image every so often where it boosts the actual light or the EV meter. Whether that's the case or not, I can't really tell you.
I'm not sure why they're calling so
It
much.
does say that it has a wide dynamic range as far as colors are concerned. As you can see here, exterior-wise, it doesn't really look like it. And I do have the wide dynamic range, which is, I guess, the El Chivo version of HDR, or high dynamic range, turned on in this camera. But it still really looks washed out and could use a little bit of video editing. Well, more so color correction, a little bit of contrast correction, things like that. Now, a couple other things that I want to bring up before I just let this video play through and actually enlarge the inside, or the rear camera, rather, is first and foremost, I've only gotten it to take up to a 32 gig micro SD card. I tried a 64 and it didn't really like it. I don't know if it's that particular card because it was a class 10 card, so it should have worked. Battery life is laughable. It says that it has a 200 milliamp hour battery, and I'm wondering if it's even that much. I mean, I do have it set up to where whenever I turn I have a particular button on my not my Federal Signal, but my Phoenix 4200DL that says dash cam. So I can manually turn it on every time I hop in the car, and then whenever I turn the car off, it is actually set up to automatically turn the camera off. Or cut the power, I should say. So essentially, yeah, whenever I get out, turn off the car, it dies almost instantly. Another thing I do like about this camera is you're not stuck looking at a display the entire time you're driving. After 30 seconds, the actual display on the back of the camera turns off. So you're not blinded in the middle of the night or something like that. So now that you've had a chance to just sit here and watch the video, I'm going to actually shut up and let it just play through so you can also hear the audio that is captured by the cameras as well. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. There's a link to this particular camera in the description, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Go ahead.
First plate, Henry Frank Marion 8683, break.